Hello everyone, whoever is watching this video. Today we have a very interesting interview with Prashant. Just to give some background, Prashant has had an inspiring GMAT journey, like 170 points massive improvement, where he doubled his verbal score literally, like from verbal 19 all the way to verbal 37. Like, and many people start questioning themselves when they see that verbal 19, that can I actually do well on verbal, like from there. And I remember, Prashant, I was speaking to ma'am about your case. Like Sunita ma'am is who Prashant worked with at length, and she was so happy when you told her about the result.
Yes,
She was like,
yes. More than me, she was happy, I can see.
yeah. She was like, okay, you know, Piyush, I just got a call from Prashant, and yes, scored. You won't believe over 37, and I'm so glad that you were able to get this
Yes,
done.
yes, yeah.
And I was like, oh, awesome. Like this is probably we have seen a lot of students improve, but like this is probably one of the best improvements when it comes to verbal. So how was the feeling when you saw that verbal 37 flashing on the screen with a 710?
Uh, actually, before I mean, after I pressed my next button after AWA, I had covered my face with a palm. I never said that I will see the score all at once. So I units, tens, and hundreds. So before I saw that one, I saw 37, and I was like, oh, that means there has to be a seven. And I was like, I was the flashing of that 710 is like will be cherished throughout my life. I don't know how I'm going to go in the application, but that flashing of 710 is like it answered all my questions that I was apprehensive about during my GMAT prep, during the this journey where I've seen a lot of ups and downs. In fact, more downs than ups.
No, definitely. We'll talk about all your experiences for sure. But I'm pretty sure that when you see that 540 in your first attempt, that definitely jolts you down. I understand that you could have probably done better, but in deep down your confidence gets shaken, and that's something which is
Yes,
probably bigger problem to actually overcome than your preparation sometimes also. So
yes, it does. It does.
let's go back. Let's go back to the start of your journey. You were telling like just before you started the recording that you had actually started GMAT prep back in 2019, December, November, around that time. So let's talk about the GMAT prep. Like how was it in the first phase? Like before you scored 540, basically before you came to GMAT, how was the preparation journey? Can you just run us through that overall?
Yeah, actually 2019 October, if I remember, I started my journey, and then 2020 I mean, January I got introduced to this GMAT Club website, and
Okay.
then I joined it, and then it was like I started answering the question. I mean, I kept on searching for how do you prepare, how do you prepare, and then I started randomly solving the questions. Actually, I had joined the course, but then it didn't help me a lot. So I kept solving the questions, but then I was not confident. And again, as I said, my work involves a lot of mobilization. So again,
Mhm.
midway I had to leave the preparation. So again, in 2021, I got a chance to give my attempt. That is in June 2021. But then from Feb to June, I had prepared in a very sincere way, which
Okay.
I thought was a very process in a good process. I was in a good
Okay.
process, but then somehow I couldn't make it. I mean, I when I saw 540, I was like, oh, this is not a cup of tea. It seemed for me because, and again, from June 21 till May 21, I didn't even touch the book. Literally, I was in
Mhm.
offshore. I mean, offshore is like in the middle of the sea, so
Mhm.
I can't even think of touching the
So
book.
you must be
So
working in oil and gas sector.
yes, yes, I was in that too. I was in Saudi Arabia. I was not in India,
Okay.
so I couldn't even think of that. So then it was like, oh, in May 2021, I'm already 30 when it comes to my age. So May 2021, I thought let's give it a one chance, one last
You
chance.
mean May 2022, like this year, not
Oh, sorry,
2021.
May
Okay.
2022. Sorry. May 2022, and I thought let's give it a good chance, one
Mhm.
last chance. And I thought I guess I came across GMAT Quiz, and then 20th May I joined the course,
Okay.
and I I was knowing by the way that I am going to be in my home for a stretch of 4 or 5 months. So
Okay.
then me and my parents decided it's now or it's never. And when I
Mhm.
saw that 710 on the screen, I was like, yes, that is the answer.
No, that's really like that's really inspiring because what when you have a tight deadline in front of you, you know that okay, you have this 3 4 months. that's a do or die also. But at the
Yes.
same time, sometimes people make it counterproductive. Like I speak to so many students on a daily basis, and I tell them that it's good to have a deadline, but you should not be basically worried about the deadline. At least study from a free mind, and you have been able to do that. That was a very impactful point.
Yes.
So Prashant, let's deep dive a bit. Like you mentioned that in the first attempt, you did prepare using some of the resources. Like if you don't mind, can you share with the viewers like what were the resources that you used in the first attempt?
Uh, yeah, actually, I joined Crack Global,
Okay,
the prep company from the Bangalore, and the course actually expired in 6 months. And
okay.
as I told you, I had many glitches in my due to my work. I mean, I couldn't even catch
So
up.
you're not
So
able to utilize it.
yeah, you couldn't utilize it. Then I thought already had a plan with what I already got a plan with that company. But then when it expired, so I thought let's go on solving randomly questions. Let's see what happens.
Okay, okay.
And then one of my family friends who had already scored 740, he suggested me what to do. You first get through 500 to 600 level, get clear of it, then 600 to 700, and then 700, which is quite right. And so I did. I went to GMAT Club. I started with sentence correction.
Okay.
500 to 700 level, I was like, okay, I'm good. But 700 again, 700 plus, it was not working. But then again, just knowing what subject work agreement is, again, only knowing what is parallelism. It is like only I was doing a big picture, and I
Okay.
was not going deep into it. Yeah, something is there which is not actually present in me. It is like a person who is a BTech and a person who is from the 10th standard. They should have a difference, right? It is not
Right.
only like uh, analysts say and analysts say. So only this kind of difference is not good, right? So there
You
was
need
a
to have a
big
much
difference.
deeper understanding of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. So
context.
that's how I guess my preparation was not that well,
Mhm.
and I gave my attempt because I was really, anxious about giving the attempt in June 2021 because I had already prepared so long. So even my parents said, just give it, let's see what happens. And
Okay.
the thing happened.
Okay. So this 1 year break that you took, almost 1 year, I would say.
Yes,
Obviously, this would have definitely helped you kind of like get back on track, calm yourself down,
yeah.
think through. So what changed in this 1 year? Like what changed when you kind of let's say started your GMAT preparation back in May? Like what changed?
I was thinking like now that it is my last attempt, I should be very
Mhm.
focused. I mean, focus
Okay.
is what it naturally comes to me, but
Mhm.
the process, the
Okay.
structured process,
Okay.
basically, not only the process, the structured way that I
Mhm.
was looking for. And then I had a consultation call, as I was telling you with Rajiv, and he told me that he had spent a lot before he got that
Mhm.
740. He had spent, literally, he told me the amount. I won't disclose it. So so then I thought, yeah, I guess it is the structured approach which I was looking for. I guess GMAT was the solution. And I told him straight away that if I don't get Sumita madam, I won't sign off, sign up with you. And and fortunately, after 2 hours, he called me back and he told, yeah, she's ready. And then I got a call from her also, and she patiently listened to me. What were my drawbacks and what was my. I had some plus points also, not like everything I was lacking. So she said, yeah, we will work and let's see how does it go. So there, from 28th May, as I told you, it really started from then.
Okay.
Core prep, I can say.
So more focused on strategies this time around. And from 28th May, I think you took the GMAT 7 days back
13th,
approximately. 13th, okay.
13th of September,
13th of
4 days back.
September.
Yeah,
Okay. So about 100 days, and you were able to get to that 7th.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
let's get deeper into this, like the entire approach that change happened. But before I get deeper into it, basically, what I want you to tell me, like broadly at a broad level, obviously, anyone who is viewing this video, they would go in depth on SCCR and RC as well to understand your strategy changes. But at a broader level, what changed? What changed that propelled out, doubled your verbal score from 19 to 37? If you need to tell me, like broadly, what changed?
Uh, Again, I will say it is the process, the way you read the sentences, the
Okay.
way you connect them, and timing is not what I guess I improved much because if I would have improved on timing, I would have seen 750 for sure.
Okay.
So, but fine, the process was important, the correction of sentences was important, and then the advices which she gave, and which I guess I had watched your one video like where you scored 341, right? And how
Mhm.
first 20 questions were really important. So I
Mhm.
have don't have my ESR, but I am sure my first 20 questions were awesome. I mean,
Okay.
the way I did it.
Okay.
So it is that GMAT, if you say the day what it proved me was it is not only a test of concepts and application of concept. It is a
Mhm.
test of nerves. It is a test of
Mhm.
management skills. It is a test of I mean, what do you call the strategically how you navigate through the test. If you tick
Mhm.
all these four boxes, at least you can be sure that you will be 700 plus. Otherwise, if you take one or two boxes, you are out of the game. That is for sure.
No, that's definitely true because in GMAT you have to get everything right. You just cannot miss out on one of those aspects. Okay.
Yeah, because you
Okay.
are going to be a manager, so definitely that it is the preface. When you read the preface of OG, I think it summarizes this whole thing.
That's a nice way to put it up. Great, great. So let's talk about where did you start from? So when you started GMAT was on 28th May, basically,
Yeah.
what was the first thing that you focused on? What was the thought process? Like, what was the first thing? What was the study plan initially?
Uh, yeah, I guess I will go it a reverse way.
Okay,
I'll come to the point, but I'll go it a reverse way.
sure,
You
sure.
know, 12th September, just before my GMAT exam, I
Mhm,
patiently and silently watched all my recording sessions of Sunita madam that I had with her of only SC sentence
okay,
correction.
okay.
We had four sessions, and
Mhm,
if this was the second time I was going through the videos and in the recording
mhm,
sessions, and
mhm.
still till there, even though I was watching for two times, second time the two pages were filled.
Oh,
Like what I was doing wrong, what I was actually doing right, and
okay,
how she was, I mean, going right about it.
okay.
That four sessions, and I had actually prepared an Excel sheet of 60
Mhm,
questions, 60 SC questions, which actually sums up OG questions to be very particular, which sums up all the necessary, subject verb agreement, parallelism, whatever the things are covered. So these 60 questions and those four sessions were really, I would say, more than sufficient to sum up my SC prep. So that is the reason why I was saying I will go reverse way.
okay,
Because
that's good.
those four those four sessions were so finely tuned, that I think that was the game changer for me.
That's good.
And so let me go to the first part. So the
Mhm,
first session which I had with her, the way she was reading the sentences, it was like, okay, I'll tell something in Hindi, so and also I'll tell something in, again, translate into English also. She was like, तुमको खुद को ये बोलना है. That is basically, if you translate it into English, it was like you have to tell yourself when you read the sentence. So
mhm,
that helped. And literally, when I gave my exam, the first question what appeared was an SC.
okay.
So what I thought was, the way she told, I had decided whatever with the timeline or whatever will be my strategy. I think I should give first question at 2 minutes, whatever,
Okay.
however simple it is.
Okay.
So the way she was doing, like, yeah, I'm giving an example according to analyst. So just recollect in your mind that, yeah, this is something happening, and then
Hmm.
read along
That's
and
good.
then see what the meaning is accurate. I mean, what are you accurate the meaning? So
Okay.
I took 2 minutes to it. No, I mean, I was like, okay, 2 minutes, but then I ensured that question is right, and that set me in motion for the whole test.
All right. All right. So, Prashant, I just want to make sure that I get it right. So, if I got it right, you meant to say that ma'am recommended you to kind of visualize that whatever you're reading is something which is happening right in front of your eyes, something like that, right? That's
Yes, and it makes
okay.
sense. It should make sense.
Okay. So that you understand whether it makes logical sense or not. All right.
Yes.
All right. All right. And isn't this way different from what generally people solve SC with? Like generally when we look at a sentence, we don't even care if that is real or not. We just look at it as parts of speech, like there's a subject, a verb, a pronoun, a modifier, and all of that.
Yeah. Actually, you're talking about people. It was me who was in 2019 who was doing this.
Okay. Okay. So how do you think this changes the accuracy or this changes the score? Like how do you think it is important?
It is very important because when I was solving the wits quiz questions,
Mhm.
so I was employing the strategies, and in that wits quiz only, I was getting the feeling that, yeah, I'm doing great on SC. If you see if you see my stats now, at least in SC, I I was doing fairly very great. And even in my mocks, GMAT prep mocks, I was doing great on SCs.
Mhm.
I mean, it was very less that I was going wrong with them.
Okay.
So the method, the strategy, and the precision both improved. I can say when I was working with her in SC, and I'm sure these 4 sessions and that 60 questions which I had as a lesson learned from the OG is the answer to my SC.
So I'm gonna poke you a little more. I'm not 100% sure how did it improve. I understand that your scores improved. You told me that your
Yeah.
physical scores were great and all of that. But I want you to tell me, like, comparatively, what is the difference that you get when you look at a sentence as parts of speech and look at the options and try to look at the grammar aspect? And what is the difference when you try to visualize it from a logic perspective? What is the difference
Mhm.
that you get in the two? Like, how does your
Mhm.
score improve because of that?
Yeah, I can. Okay, last day, like when I was going through our videos, there was a question. Like I can't remember, but I'll just say there was a thing called anxiety about and anxiety that. So
Okay.
when she was asking me that how will you rule out the option, so
Okay.
I just said, oh, it will be a it will be like an idiom. So I just
Mhm.
mentioned that. So she
Mhm.
said, this is not an idiom. It is like that means there is a clause, and
Mhm.
about means it's a proposition. So it should be there should be a noun. So this is how the things you can dig deeper.
Mhm.
I mean, this is how you can. I must say, she focused on what should be, how should we rule out the options also, and it is not only the bugging of the idioms which helps you.
Mhm. Exactly.
Because in my last prep I had worked up nearly 500 idioms,
Hmm.
and literally in this prep I didn't even touch what an idiom is. That
No, that
was
is that is very very important. In fact, Prashant, this is a one question that I hear from students. Like I speak to students and they tell me that Piyush, you know what, my SC is poor because I cannot remember all idioms or all grammar rules. And like I tell them that it's important for you to understand the logic behind the rules. I give them a very simple example. Let's say in quant, you know a formula. Okay, SP simple interest is P into R into T by 100. And for whatever reason on the day of the test, if you forget the formula, will you be able to solve the question? The answer is yes. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. So when the answer is yes, I tell them, okay, it is yes because probably you know simple interest is nothing but unitary method. You know how the
yeah.
formula was derived, right? But if you have just mugged up the formula, that okay, this is the formula. You know what? Like I just have to use this three, multiply this three, and divide by 100. If you forget the formula, you're doomed. You cannot even solve a simple question because you don't know how the formula was existing, right? So, in same thing applies in grammar or SC. Because we mug up idioms, because we mug up rules, we don't think about the logical aspect of the rule. The biggest issue is A, if you don't remember the rule, you will get the question wrong, you will not be able to get it right. Second problem is that if you will not be able to understand which rule to apply where, because in quant
Yes.
you don't have to technically think now that this sentence I have to, you don't think, okay, there are like 500 formulas in quant, you don't have to recollect all 500 formulas, you automatically understand which formula will apply here basically.
Yeah,
So
actually there is one, still I can tell you one, there is one question in OG which says, which, that which when preceded by a comma, it says
mhm.
ki it should refer to the preceding word. So
Okay.
there is one SC which says this can refer to the whole clause.
Full class.
So there is one sentence, and that I guess Sunita Verma and I have discussed a long, on a long, in a length, I can say.
No,
So this is,
that's important. So very important. I think like the meaning aspect, if you kind of underplay on that, you're not working on verbal logically. All right. So perfect. So you said that you took 4 sessions in sentence correction. I do understand that. But along with this 4 sessions, what else were you doing? Like were you also utilizing the platform for your preparation? And if yes, then
yeah,
how did you utilize it?
actually, as my preparation proceeded, I used this quiz as a as a judgment where I was. Then
Okay.
I really, I mean, I could sense, yes, the OG is really a Bible. It's a sacred thing which one should not touch if you are not really good at your preparation. So this is
Mhm.
one thing which I really focused on. OG is to be respected a lot. And GMAT prep, yeah. One more thing I would like to add, if we miss, like there are people who just say that when you start your preparation, just give a GMAT prep mock and see where are you. But
Mhm.
that doesn't make sense. The GMAT prep mock, what they used to be and what they are now, it is a significant change I can say because in 2.5 years back when I was giving a mock and now when I give the mock, it was like the algorithm is same, that is okay, but then the way the questions are appearing are different. So just don't waste the GMAT prep mock. That is,
Mm.
I mean, that is one of the biggest advice I would think.
So you're saying not to use the mock in the beginning, use it when you're
No,
ready, basically.
yeah, if you want to judge yourself, you can take random questions and you can judge yourself. Like where are you on your GMAT prep? Just seeing 620 on your GMAT prep one mock is not going to give you where you are.
Okay, okay. Great. So basically, when you started, you focused on sentence correction. That's where you
Sure.
learned the logic behind the rules, or let's say the meaning-based approach,
Yes.
instead of looking at grammar only, and that helped you to improve your score. And I'm
Yes.
assuming that you also did some part of the GMAT risk course, which WAM was recommending you between sessions, because between these 4 sessions, you would have done some bit of homework, which was
Yeah,
assigned.
she properly guided me that you touch this quiz only when you are 100% sure with your SC. Or
Okay,
don't even touch. You do some of the official questions, but then use
okay,
this as a judgment that yeah, you are quite right
okay.
now,
Okay,
well
okay. So
prepared.
basically, that is an assessment. Whiz was an assessment from the GMAT quiz platform that you were using, and then you're solving official questions as directed by Sunita ma'am.
Yes,
Okay. So I'm assuming that in once you're done with SC, like you moved on to other areas, like probably
yes,
critical reasoning.
yeah,
So
yeah,
let's talk about that. Like, what was the change in thought process in critical reasoning that you followed?
yeah. Critical reasoning, like I was not doing good in 2.5 years or 2 years back.
Mhm,
So the and probably in my main exam also I might have not done much well. But then two things which one should follow is when there are four sentences,
mhm.
you should the one main thing is you should be able to connect those sentences.
Okay.
Like when you read a sentence, you should start asking the leading questions, what the next sentence would come. So
Okay. So try
and
to
then
preempt basically what is going to come.
preempt, yeah, preempt also, and then you can actually make when you read the second sentence, you can actually make the sentence will actually automatically make sense to you if you do this.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and then there is a thing called identifying the conclusion. So if you focus on
Mhm,
this two, I guess you
mhm.
are done with your CR. But
Okay.
I when I was I guess you had posted it on Facebook, a survey, right? That
Mhm.
CR between CR, SC, and RC,
Yeah.
the,
Yeah, is the least important.
it is the least important, and I won't say it is the least important. But I also saw the section on the GMAT Club which says what if scenarios. So if you get
Mhm,
all the CRs wrong,
mhm,
so I guess you can score still be 35. So I won't say
mhm.
I was weak in the CR, but I think when I was doing naturally the questions on CR, I was doing good. When I
Okay.
was following the process, I mean, following the process is like these two things are very important.
Mhm.
Identifying the conclusion and the sentence,
Linking the
how
information
linking
together.
the information is very important. But then
Okay.
sometimes it happens that you cannot, I mean, you cannot rule out the options. So
Mhm,
you just do not need to get stuck up at the
mhm.
question. So that is the
Okay.
strategic move now.
That's a very
So
intelligent strategy, to be honest. Like it's important. What people sometimes do is they get very, let's say, emotional about certain questions. Like, okay, you know what? I've spent 2 minutes on this question. I need to get it right, and end up getting spending 4 5 minutes on the question as well. Many
yeah, but
times.
I would like to, I mean, I had one thing, like I was very good at cause and effect. I was very good at, I mean, I can say resolve the paradox. So
Mhm.
whatever question used to come in front of me among those, I
Understood.
made sure even if it takes me 3 minutes, I'm going to solve it. So
That's a very important thing. I think like that's what intelligence is, because you as a student have to understand what are your strong and weak areas, and you had very clear idea that okay, these are my strong areas and I can get these questions right, so
yes,
it makes sense to spend time on them. And at the same time, these are questions in which I am not that great. So if I have spent, let's say, 2.5 minutes, I'm not sure whether I can get it right. It is better for me to make a judgment and move forward, basically.
yes.
And that
Actually, on the
that's
actual test also, I guess in my second quarter, I got a big, I mean, 4 or 5 lines resolve the paradox question. So
okay.
as I was good at it, I thought let's give it a
Super
3 minute
happy
try,
man.
and I got super happy. But then those 3 minutes were, I mean, not worth.
I can totally relate to it. I remember when I was preparing, I was very good at boldface. Generally, boldface give people jitters, but in my case, I was like 100% confident I can get any boldface question right. And I also heard that if generally you get a boldface question, or not always, but generally it means you're doing well on the test. So during my test, I was like waiting for that boldface question. In my mocks, it was appearing on the 16th or 17th question. So it gave me like that feedback that I'm probably doing well. On the day of the test, I don't know what was God's plan for me. Uh, the bold-based question came on as 21st or 22nd question, and I was like, so I was not panicked, but I was worried internally, like, am I doing well? Am I not doing well? And then when I finally saw that bold-faced question, I was like, oh my God, this is now I'm actually going in the right
Yes,
direction.
yes.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
So,
the what you learn from CR is the way you make the connections, and that gives you an impetus to how you approach an RC. So this is
okay.
very important.
Okay. So you're saying that basically the connections that we make in CR are very important for RC as well.
Yeah, because CR is of four lines length and RC is
Passage.
of 40.
Uh,
So it is like just making your connections in all these 36 lines. So that makes sense also.
yes,
So this is
yes.
what even she said to me, Sunita madam, that what CR and RC is. They are mirror images, and also they are like one is
Exactly.
shorter version, the one is the longer version. Simple, as simple as that.
Huh.
Only thing
And
is you won't be able to recollect what not every information in the RC.
and you don't need to recollect every information in an RC
Yes,
as well.
yes,
You need to filter out also. So that's a good point. And in fact, obviously, ma'am is teaching the same thing which I teach. Like we have a same thought process at GMAT is
yes,
that CR and RC both test you at the end of the day in your inference skills, basically reading between the lines. And as you
yes,
said, which is very critical that you have to link information. And when I see people, like I sometimes ask them how much time do you take on reading a CR argument in the first read. Many times people say that I just take 30 seconds to read the argument, then I'm off to the choices. And I tell them, like, if you read a argument in 30 seconds, how can you do any analysis? How can you understand basically what is there? They say, okay, yeah, that's why I go to the choices and then I come back to it again. Like, what's your take on it? Like, should we do that? Like 30 seconds of reading and then going to the choices and then coming back to the argument? Okay,
not at all recommended. Yeah,
not at all. Okay, why so? Why do you think that is a wrong approach?
yeah, because the 3 minute question what I referred to, I was just going back and forth. I mean,
Hmm.
30 seconds because I felt like I have already understood the argument which was present. I had already understood what the paradox was actually. But
Hmm.
then it seems that I was not clear. But
Hmm.
just going back and forth, it really doesn't help. You know, I mean, if you're getting stuck in two options, it makes sense. If you're getting stuck
Hmm.
in three, then that question is
There's something
like,
wrong with your
yeah,
understanding of the complex universe.
that is for sure. And you should be very, sagacious about that.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you'll keep spending the time.
That's true. That's true. And as you said, that there was one small thing that you felt you could have improved is the timing. Basically, you
Yeah,
could have improved that. You felt that you could have scored 740, maybe even over 42 or 41 kind of a score. And
yes,
and this is something which probably happened in a few questions with you that you were also not focused when you were reading the information, maybe because of the pressure or whatever, and you
yeah,
had to do back and forth. And whenever you did that, you felt that you ended up taking extra time. So what you're
yes,
saying is that you should read it right in the first go so that you're able to kind of solve it correctly and that will in less time overall.
yes, yes. I
So
mean, it's like 600 to 700 level. You should target it to close it within 1 minute and 20 seconds. Max to max, it should go 1 minute and 35 seconds. And for 700 plus, maybe it depends how much the hard level is.
and also on your strengths and weaknesses. So definitely,
Yeah.
in my case, I used to take the highest time on CR. So that's something which I was not very strong about. Okay, so let's move on to RC. Like what changed in RC? What was your approach in RC earlier and what changed basically
Uh,
the second attempt?
I must say, there was no approach before. I
Oh,
was
okay.
completely, I mean, I didn't have approach. I won't even say what approach I had. I was just like reading the paragraphs. Okay, if there is a question, I will get it if it is actually stated. If it is not, then I was getting it
Okay.
wrong. And that's what I will
Okay.
summarize my preparation is. And when I came to GMAT, I think the main point was Sumita madam, what she focused on the one thing what I had told. CRA, RC is just a longer version of CR. So you just to make the connections. The only thing the long RC is like uh, there is a part in the paragraph which sets a context, and then you have to recognize what the author is doing. Whether is he explaining, whether is he contrasting, and then whether is he actually concluding. And apart from that, I guess the videos with GMAT, I mean, there are few videos which uh, on the platform which says that how strategically you can move, like identifying the subject verb pair, identifying the contrast verbs, the prepositions. This all actually breaking the sentence is very important because
Okay.
there is one passage you can, if you remember Jacob Burckhardt. passage. There is one passage, and the first paragraph has a long sentence in the last, which is almost 4 or 5 lines big. So if you don't break that sentence, you cannot get it. I'm 100% sure. So that's how the breaking is. And apart from this, what I followed is like, oh yeah, before you prep, you should focus on one thing. Like your you should focus more on process of elimination. You know, on RC. Uh, so that is what you should focus, because it really makes your life easier. Also on your GMAT prep and also in the exam also. And one strategy which I followed was, whatever be the however tough be the RC, I should get the short passages correct, all the 6 questions which do appear, and that strategy I followed, and I guess I got my RC in all the 4 what do you call, the sessions. I mean the quarters, and I made sure the first session and the second quarter RC were perfect, super perfect. So, and fortunately those were short passages, and I made sure that there is no mistake. And in third quarter I got a big RC. It was easy to comprehend, but then the questions were tricky. So, but then still, I could crack it.
No, that's great. Nothing like getting an RC right in GMAT, because you
Yeah,
get consecutive questions and then the algorithm keeps on increasing the
yeah.
difficulty level for sure.
The short passages, why I say, because you can map the passages very well, and if you miss the information, you can come back and you can actually identify where it is and where it is not. So even if you miss it, you may take a bit more a minute to identify that, and actually, can the more important thing is to get the question correct. So if you are getting it correct, then nothing like that.
Perfect, perfect. So let's move to the practice phase now. So we talked about SCCR and RC, what changed. Now, how did your practice change? Earlier, you were saying that there was no strategy. You were just solving random questions when you scored that 540. Now, how did your practice strategy change? Like, how are you practicing now after like working on all 3 areas?
As she said, as Smita Madam suggested, like OG questions, you do it by taking more minutes. I mean, don't focus much on the timing. And with she gave me some 4 strategies. Like you do, what you do is first 15 minutes, you do 15 questions in a particular 27 minutes. Like number of questions into 1.86 minutes. So this is
Okay.
how you should target. So this is how I improved on my timing, but surely I didn't improve much on my timing, but then I focused more on accuracy. Even when I was practicing on the GMAT whiz quiz, basically on the whiz quiz. And
Yes.
the more important thing is, before I attempted my GMAT prep mocks, I attempted first my GMAT whiz mocks. So whatever the errors I made, I made sure that at least those errors I won't make in the GMAT prep. I mean the official mocks, because those are really important. Those are really sacred. No one should just give them just because.
Understood. Understood. And were you focusing on specific areas, let's say in the practice, like you mentioned that you were taking mock tests basically from this quiz, where you're taking time test for 1.66 minutes per question. But were you also taking up some sectional tests for focused on specific areas, or were you just taking them for SCCR and RC individually?
No, no. Sunita madam had suggested me that you are going to get everything in a combination. So it is better you practice in that way. And why 1.86 minutes only? Because after you get the questions wrong, also you have that chance to view the analysis. Basically, where are you wrong, or why are you right? In fact, why are you right is more important. In fact, it seems, than why are you
Exactly.
wrong? Because
Exactly.
and
And this is the exact same statement I was telling someone yesterday. So I told them that when we are analyzing questions, generally what people do is they will just look at the option explanations and see, okay, what is the mistake that I made? I missed this concept of past perfect tense this time. So next time I will not make that error. And in this way, they will memorize 200 different things that they should not be doing on a question. And actually, when you're solving a question, you cannot think of what not to do. You should think of
yes,
what to do,
what to do?
basically.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing which I was telling, so I can
Yes.
very well relate to it. Okay, okay. Any other specific thing that you want to highlight from a practice? Let's say you mentioned error log also that you want to do. Anything?
Yeah, I prepared a brief and comprehensive error log for sentence correction. Like, uh, I didn't write comprehensive explanations to the questions. I had listed 60 number of questions, and
Okay.
this is what I had decided a day before. I will just make sure that I will just revise those and go.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these were kind of selected questions for me,
Okay.
and those
That's a
selected, and
smart
I had
move.
a brief explanation like what I was missing or what I had learned. Only one or two lines, maybe not more than that. So that's what I. In fact, I should have done that in RC also. Maybe that would have boosted my scores, but I didn't do that for RC. I had written some very short in
Notes,
words.
maybe.
Yeah, uh, but then it's fine.
No, that's a smart move. Yeah, that's a smart move. And all the people who are watching this is probably one of the takeaways that you can take up. That when you're solving questions, like take bookmarks, take bookmark questions, take notes of the questions that you want to revise later on. Because what people do is they will take notes and then they will just try to memorize those notes or revise those notes before the day of the test. But when you
Yeah,
see a
actually,
concept, uh,
there is one thing I would give a credit to GMAT Club because once you attempt any question, you can have a excellent download edit in front of you. You know, I mean,
mhm,
there you can actually write everything. Where are
mhm.
you going wrong? So, but I didn't do that. I prepared everything myself.
Oh, that's important. Like when you prepare everything yourself, also you're focusing on aspects which are more important or relevant for you as well. So that is an important thing. And this quick review actually helps you to see the concepts in perspective rather than just looking through notes which are just concepts written in a word format overall. So that's always better. Okay, perfect, Prashant. So we did not talk about quant. Yeah, we ignored quant
Uh,
just because of verbal score is so great that we did not
yeah,
at all talk about it. So any tips for quants for the users who are
yeah.
watching
In
this?
fact, I didn't even look at my verbal con score when I saw that 17. I just woke up, just woke up from my seat,
Okay.
you know. And yeah, Quant actually, yeah, in fact, I would like to highlight that Quant 2 was presented in a very structured way, the way GMAT is the platform is. And I was like, if you see my dashboard, you will not get the feeling like I would have scored 49. But then I was even targeting the toughest question in 2 minutes, which is not possible. In the examination, it is not possible because I had got some very tough questions. But then I thought just doing and wasting time is not, the, I mean, one should depend on. So, and when I had a call with Smita Madam, I had also asked her the very first call that, how do you think, like, to what extent I can improve my call? And she exactly said, you using our platform, you can at least score Q49. And I only scored two Q49, I must say. I, but
That's good.
that,
That's good to know
that
that
is
you
great.
got 49,
Um,
but
actually, before the exam, I had a call with Saqib sir. So
okay.
he was like he had scored some Q51, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I told him my side also that I had scored Q46. I also, it is not like I'm not knowing concepts, but then he told that we are Indians and maybe probably we are already good at something, but you need to take yourself to some other level. So
Mhm.
he said you diligently focus on your GMAT with the platform, the WITS quiz, and the chapter questions, the basically the concept boosters. So
Mhm.
make sure you do everything very perfect, and then you attempt the GMAT club questions, the toughest question,
Okay.
not the 600 to 700 level. And you know, at that advice literally helped me a lot. I like I was doing in verbal, like where am I going wrong? So that thing I was not doing in quant because I was
Okay.
overconfident. Simple.
Mhm.
So even then I was getting many questions wrong in LCM and GCD. I mean,
Okay.
in the basically in the number properties I can say. I
Mhm.
was very comfortable with geometry, but then in the exam, geometry was worse again for me. I couldn't crack the questions as early as possible. I could crack it, but then not in the minutes. I mean, in the duration which it had to. But the the platform is really meant to. What I can summarize is the platform is really meant to score Q49 at least. That is for sure.
No, that's
If
really
you
good to hear.
follow that,
That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. So let's summarize your tips for your like GMAT trading. Like you have seen 4 months where you prepared in a way like you felt was right, obviously at that point of time, but was not very organized. And then you prepared for another 3.5 around 100 days, and you were able to see a significant jump in your score of 170 points. So what are your three learnings or three tips that you want to give our users? Again, if you want to think about it and summarize, you can do that because this is an impromptu interview that we are doing. We've not prepared anything for the interview. So
yeah.
any three tips that you want to give? Yeah.
Uh, the first step is like once you are very comfortable with 500 to 700 level, like
Mhm.
you should be very comfortable with 500 to 600. You should be 100% confident. I mean, very
Okay.
comfortable comfortable. Only then move to 600 to 700. 600 to 700 level, you should be at least 75% correct in all the three sections. I'm talking about verbal for now.
Okay.
So 75%, and then you can move to 700 plus.
Okay.
And before you book your exam, you just need to make one thing sure that your 500 to 700 level should be 100% clear.
Okay.
Only then you book your exam, main exam. Otherwise, it's a waste of money. And this is what I did in June 2021. That I was okay. I mean, I was not that bad, but then I was not 100%. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're making careless mistakes, it's okay. Maybe you can forgive yourself. But if you're making conceptual mistakes, even at 600 to 700 level, then don't just give the exam just to, I mean, drain out your anxiety. So
That's
this is
very,
the
very
first thing.
important. Yeah, that's very important because in an adaptive test like GMAT, if you're not getting the easy and medium questions right, you're not going to score well for sure. Okay.
And the second tip I would say is you need to be very strategic. You need to develop your own strategy. You need to really work on what are your strengths. Like my strength was never RC, but I, if I remember very correctly, 2 weeks before my exam, I had developed such a good technique that I really went on to ace this short passages,
Okay.
and I had already decided that the day I get 8 of 13 or 9 of 14 questions correct, the day I'll make my exam.
Okay.
And this was happening. So
Okay.
this was happening, and then I thought, now it is the time you should actually book your exam. And the third tip is like the third tip is actually you should be really very cool on the exam day. That like I would just like to share one thing more that my journey from my house to the GMAT center actually takes some 30 40 minutes.
Okay.
Literally that day, it took me 1 hour for 50 minutes. I was stuck in a
Oh my
long
God.
traffic,
Oh
long
my
traffic
God.
jam. And in the journey, I was like, how will the exam go was a secondary question. Whether I would reach the exam was a primary question. So this anxiety kept going through my veins, literally. But then I reached, my exam was scheduled at 11:30. I reached
Okay.
at 11:10. For this
Okay.
whole 20 minutes, I was just deep breathing. I didn't do anything. I was
Very
just
good.
deep breathing. So that's why I would say that it is not only a test of application of concepts. It is a test of how you
Your calmness,
calmness.
anxiety management.
Yeah, yeah. So these four things, if you tick, and with those four boxes, if you tick, you can be at least assured that you can at least go 700 plus. Probably there is a fifth box which I'm not ticking, and that is the reason why I'm not at 750.
No, that's okay. See, honestly, people look at like scores of 750, 760, and they say, okay, these are the only scores that matter. Sometimes, you know what, I get call bookings in the month of January, February, when people in the bookings they mention I want to score a 790 and 800 on GMAT. And that's a message that they gave. And I was like, okay, this person definitely doesn't understand what GMAT is. They're like, 800 is the maximum you need to score that. That thought is in some people's mind. But like honestly, for me, that 540 to 710 improvement and that verbal 19 to a 37 is a much tougher journey than
Yes.
basically like anything else that I can think of. So it's like a dream come true. And I told ma'am that like when like right after the call, I was the first person that she called, and I told ma'am that ma'am, let's cover this interview. We don't have the live YouTube slots for the next 2 weeks, so but I want to definitely cover this journey really soon. So let's cover this as soon as possible because it's a place where people give up. I have had people in the past who had used, you know what, I scored a verbal 18 or 19, 24, 25. Can I even score a 700? That's the question that they ask me. It's not like, how can I score a 700? The question is, can I even score a 700? Is that even possible? And this story is this, your interview is the one which I'm going to attach in all emails for those people that take an inspiration. So I'm really happy that you have achieved this goal, and it's a very big thing, definitely.
Yeah, if you have come that long, then it is like you should give it a try. I mean, at least a try, and that you have approve structured a try. It's not. It shouldn't be like yeah, haphazard try. Otherwise, it will again look like a 540.
So that is true. And the thing that you mentioned, that is traffic jam. Many people
Ah,
say that okay, this is like not expected. I was like completely taken off. And but good thing is in those 20 minutes that you got, you left the past behind. Your past is not in your control, your future is. And that's
yes.
a very important thing. And this comes also from experience in a way. So you did experience some other things in the past, you worked on them. And that's really, really cool. In fact, in the test also, if something like that happens, that you have made a mistake, like in the first
Yes.
100 or so, take a step back, yeah, calm down, give 30 seconds break, then do the rest of the test properly. What is the point in wasting the rest of the test?
Yeah, actually, my journey from my home to center is what my journey from the first question to the 36 question in verbal. I can summarize in that way. The way
Okay,
I,
okay. Okay. So there were some ups and downs in that as well, and but you stayed
yes,
calm and then
yes,
you come back in that.
yeah,
All right, all right. And one last question, Prashant. So you took private tutoring with GMAT Plus, but did you try any other private tutors also before coming to us?
no, it was
Okay,
expensive, so
okay, okay. So
I
you
can't just burn
basically,
my holes in the
so
pocket.
you were studying on your own. You used back verbal, and then basically then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
went ahead with us. Okay, okay.
yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Great, yeah. This is really great talking to you. This interview went a little longer than what we expected, but definitely there are a lot of good points that we have covered, and I'm pretty sure that the users will get to learn a lot from this
I,
discussion overall.
it was very fortunate to have worked with teachers like Sunita Madam at you, and many suggestions really worked, literally worked, you know. So I'm really thankful to that. It was a great fortune, in fact. I would thank to my
Very,
fortune as
very
well.
happy to have played a part in your journey.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
okay, okay, Prashant.